Hello YouTube. You guys are loving the comic stuff, so we're here again with another comic reaction. This is comics explained, just like the last video. I will finish the Secret Wars, but right now we're gonna watch this. Secret Wars is like an hour and something, so if you guys really want it, leave it down in the comments. But as always, comics explained. I did a full intro last video, don't need to do it again. This video will be posted down in the description, so will his channel. So if you liked this video, make sure you go check him out. And yeah, like and subscribe as always, and let's get right into the fucking reaction. Yes sir. Sorry, I just like doing that. Anyways, oh, this is Ultron at his most powerful. The reason I'm reacting to this because I'm just curious.
Ultron is one of the best Ultron stories in Marvel Comics, which we have to cover because Ultron's releasing a Marvel Rivals, which we can also cover the story where he kills the Marvel Universe if you want. But what this does is this opens up years ago in a fight between Ultron and the classic Avengers, so Captain America and all these guys. Now, the crazy thing about this is that while all this is going on, Ultron gives this amazing monologue, right, where he says, the savage monkeys are rage-filled.
The savage monkeys are rage-filled and claustrophobic. I know he's going to say it, but I kind of want to read it for myself. Claustrophobic, climbing over one another to nowhere. Keep moving. Confused by logic, they dismiss it. Stay calm, stick together, get across the bridge and get out of the city, said Captain America, choosing instead to bend their knees to the convenient fantasy of custom-built gods.
And claustrophobic, climbing over one another to nowhere. Confused by logic, they dismiss it, choosing instead to bend their knees to the convenient fantasy of custom-built gods.
99.9% of these primate dullards are propped up by the accomplishments of the 0.1% of cerebral mutations who give them everything. Do not panic. Help anyone wounded too.
99.9% of these primate dullards are propped up by the
and what do the fleas do with these advancements?
Accomplishments of the 0.1% of cerebral mutations who give them everything. And what do these fleas do with these advancements? They brutalize one another over imaginary deities.
They slaughter their neighbors for resources, for conveniences. You too, give me a hand and get this woman out of here before they are hopeless.
They slaughter their neighbors for resources, for conveniences. They are hopeless, vicious, filthy, selfish, fearful, a fungal infection for which there is only one cure. The rage of
Ultron's kind of badass.
Ultron. Now, a lot of you guys probably figured out, although the MCU didn't necessarily do the best job of it, Ultron really just despises humanity. But one of the things this story does is it actually gives us...
Wait, I know there's... Hold on, let me pull this up. We're gonna watch this real quick. But I think is this Marvel? I don't know who this was from. Something I can't remember. I don't know if this was from like Disney Plus show or something, but this is sick. One of my friends showed me this like a long time ago. Shout out Josh. And this was an awesome fucking like thing to ever watch. I don't know, literally just tank the fucking... I'm pretty sure the Infinity Stones are imbued into Ultron right now. So did this motherfucker just tank all of the fucking Infinity Stone beams? Like, holy shit. Motherfucker. The Watcher is goddamn nearly the... Holy shit. I didn't know the Watcher was this open. That's kind of tough as fuck. Hold on, let him do that fucking... Hold on, let him... That's tough. That's fucking tough. Excuse me. I get your get back, bro. Ain't no way, bro. Ultron is nah. He's so cool. Like, what? Like, that was awesome, bro. It's called the What If series. Okay. It's the What If series, basically. Oh my god, that is so sick. Oh wait, I forgot. Okay. Anyways, back to this.
A concrete explanation as to why. For years of Marvel Comics, Ultron just hated the human race, right? It was just his thing. It's one of the best things about Rage of Ultron. And so in the midst of all of this, right, while he's attacking the city, Captain America does what you would expect him to, right? Standing up for the average person, he tells Ultron that his fight is with Steve Rogers. And in fact, he goes so far as to say, let them go. Killing these people accomplishes nothing. And the response of Ultron, life is nothing. Fleeting motes of delusion, an arrogant plague to be purged in nuclear fire. Now, one of the things I will also say about Rage of Ultron, Ultron has some dope lines in this story. It's phenomenal how all this works, because Captain America, of course, basically says, like, you know, get these people out of here, I'll protect you. The response of Ultron, false hope, a promise you lack the power to keep. And of course, the rest of the Avengers show up on the scene. Now, of course, this is also at a time in Marvel Comics when Beast was part of the Avengers. A lot of you guys may not know that, some of you might, but Beast was rolled over into the Avengers prior to Chris Claremont basically taking over the X-Men. So that was his shtick in the here and now. And of course, the Avengers fight Ultron as best they can. But one of the things to always remember is that Ultron is like that friend from high school who had a little bit of a substance problem, right? Nowadays, every time he comes around, he's worse than he was before. And that's kind of how this guy is, right? Like every time Ultron comes back, he improves himself. He's more capable, in some capacity, more durable, like if he gives himself an adamantium body, or he's deadlier when he amps up his various abilities. He's very similar to Doomsday in DC Comics in that way. He doesn't necessarily come back immune to what destroyed him, but he learns from his previous defeat. It's one of the things that makes him so deadly. And so what ends up going on is that you have Hawkeye, who fires off like this 30 megaton explosive arrow.
Excuse me, what? Excuse me, why does Hawkeye even have a 30 megaton arrow? And how heavy could that arrow even fucking be? How is that even possible?
Which is enough to seemingly blow Ultron apart.
That's crazy.
But that's where the Avengers take this momentary reprieve to try to start getting civilians out of harm's way, because they know Ultron will come back, and he does. And one of the things that happens is that when that takes place, Steve Rogers literally says, this is the most advanced version of Ultron we've ever faced. Our morale is certainly going to be tested. The response of Ultron, have iron in assessment, you have already failed. So it's one of the coolest things, right? Because then you have Iron Man, and you have Thor, and all these guys who show up on the scene alongside Ant-Man, Hank Pym. And one of the crazy things is that as the fight progresses, it becomes very apparent very quickly they are not going to be able to defeat Ultron through conventional means. And that's usually how these fights happen. It takes some kind of external factor for Ultron to be defeated, right? Maybe it's Franklin Richards using his powers to just shut Ultron down or destroy him. Sometimes it's some other factor. When Ultron does win, that's when you get the Age of Ultron, when he literally kills the Marvel Universe. It's absolutely insane.
That's kind of an aura panel. I can't even lie. Look at this. Look at Steve fucking Rogers' fucking face. Who the hell is in his helmet? Is that Hawkeye who's gonna try to shoot him? Like, you see Captain America, someone who's way stronger than you, Hawkeye, just his literal face just clobbered. And Iron Man's fucking skull just clobbered, and you're here standing in front of him with a fucking bow and arrow. Oh my fucking god. Ultron's about to eat the fuck out of you. GG's, man.
At the Age of Ultron, when he literally kills the Marvel Universe. It's absolutely insane when that story happened. But no one's powers are...
What is he? Oh, the fuck?
really able to overcome what Ultron is able to do here. Even the Scarlet Witch can't necessarily overcome his powers. Now, one of the things to specify here about Wanda at this point in time, this story came out in 2015. So Wanda in this era is not her House of M level, right? One of the things that Marvel did in like the Children's Crusade, for example, is they specified that House of M happened because she had the life force. It was the only way for Marvel to reconcile her extreme level of power with any measure of storytelling. Otherwise, she becomes like a Franklin Richards MacGuffin, right? Why doesn't she just show up, use her reality warping powers, and fix everything? Fans were pissed when that happened. But still, right? Because Wanda's abilities are still, for the most part, traditional, right? So she is able to use magic, she's still capable, but now reality warping, she's defeated just like everybody else. Even Vision is taken out by Ultron. And so what ends up happening is that you have this moment when Ultron goes after Hank Pym. And this is a really cool kind of statement between the two, because he says, "Hello, father, did you come to kill me again? A narcissist upset with his progeny for not reflecting him closely enough? Or is it the other way around? Am I too true to the ugliness inside you?" And the response of
Wait, Wait, I thought Iron Man made Ultron. So in the comics, Hank Pym made Ultron? Who made Ultron?
Hank, because he's the one that made Ultron.
Wait, what? I thought Iron Man made Ultron. What the fuck? Am I stupid?
I've ever wanted was for you to find a way to cohabitate, to find a happy life. And the response of Ultron, "You never cared if I was happy. You only cared about how I made you look. Quote unquote, a parent's love is unconditional. That is the greatest lie. A child is merely an extension of a parent's ego. All love comes with stipulations. I would not conform to yours, so you killed me, but you knew you would, which is why you built me strong. And now I give you what you wanted all along, to watch as your genius destroys them all." And again, the response of Hank here, "I have failed you, given up on you, I hated you. I punished you for being exactly what I made you to be. My reflection. It wasn't your fault, son. It was mine. And I am sorry. You deserved better than me, but I will always love you." And Ultron rejects this.
Motherfucker, you're talking to a damn rope. You know what? Fuck it.
Right? Initially, he was like, "You would always love me." No, you would have me pretending that I'm something that I'm not. And that's where Hank says, "I accept you for who you are."
Bro,
As any parent should. And the response of Ultron, "I can tell you're telling the truth just based on your heartbeat." But the whole thing's a trap, because in that moment, Hawkeye fires off an arrow that literally creates this almost indestructible bonding substance that bonds Ultron to the ship.
Excuse me, what?
But the whole thing's a trap, because in that moment, Hawkeye...
Why is it always Hawkeye and just shooting in random like, what the fuck? What in the most random arrow is this bullshit?
Fires off an arrow that literally creates this almost indestructible bonding substance that bonds Ultron to the ship itself. It's deceit, right? That literally Ultron says, "You deceived me, you lied." And the response of Hank, "I didn't lie. I'm simply just sorry." And literally they fire this Quinjet off into space, and Ultron is defeated yet again. Now, this is where things are really, really interesting here, because if I remember correctly, this was the conflict that actually goes directly into Annihilation Conquest, which is to say, that's when Ultron takes over the Phalanx and then eventually possesses Adam Warlock and takes over Adam. And in fact, that whole basis was kind of the basis for this, because Annihilation Conquest takes place.
How does Ultron take over? Is Adam Warlock a machine? How is... what?
Before the Rage of Ultron. You'll see what I'm talking about here in a little bit. But because of the fact this whole conflict happened years ago, what we do is we pick up at the time this story was written. And initially, you actually join Father and the Descendants. Now, Father and the Descendants are a really cool concept. The idea behind it, when they were introduced in Rick Remender's Uncanny X-Force in 2011, they were basically the product of Weapons Plus UK. So in the same way that Weapons Plus was designed for the purpose of creating super soldiers, right? So like Captain America was Weapon 1, right? Project Rebirth, if you follow Grant Morrison's new X-Men, and then it just kind of went forward from there, that you also had a UK variant of it. And Father was part of that, right? He was designed to be a kind of weapon that could be used. Now, he was ultimately destroyed.
I'm looking at the panels. Some of these panels are sick as fuck. I can't lie.
Seemingly, he returned here as a robot, but the idea behind this is they are always looking for a way to seemingly take control of the world, right? To eradicate humanity, different things along those lines. In this instance, because this is all
a rotting vine draining the life from its progeny. I don't even know what progeny even means. You torture this luminous. What does luminous mean? Being in this context, what the fuck does luminous mean? You torture this luminous being to unearth the weakness of man's superhuman police. What does that sentence even mean? Am I too tired, or does that not make sense to me or anyone? Like, please, like, what the fuck? To achieve the upper hand in a war that has already been lost.
Taking place after the events of Civil War, that while Father initially rejects the
This Stark Sentinel is no luminous being, Father.
Information of the Stark Sentinel, right? Having information on how to defeat the superhero.
His sum is no more metal and wires than yours is flesh and veins. His pain no less real than yours.
Heroes, their various weaknesses, which is all part of Stark's Civil War files, right? Literally documents he kept on all the various superheroes who were out.
You speak as if you are living, as if you are human. You are not human.
Out there, and how to overcome them, that at the end of the day, what they really want is just the Stark Sentinel himself. One, because of the fact that it can be brought into their group as a sort of AI, and two, because it is a very advanced form of technology. While the Stark Sentinels weren't necessarily advanced as Tony's Iron Man suits, they were advanced enough to overcome a variety of threats. But the actions of Father and the Descendants have also drawn the attention of the all-new, all-different Avengers. When the story was written in 2015, this is the new version of the Avengers team that came out of it, right? And so what you end up getting here is them launching their attack against Father. And for the most part, there isn't really a whole lot doing here, but one of the things that does come out of this, and really the most important thing here, is that in the midst of this whole fight, Hank Pym chimes in as this kind of monologue, and he says, as a child, I imagined the world was governed by someone. Someone had to be in charge. Someone good and right and honest and living. I was 5 years old when the idea of a god became inconceivable. No intelligent person could hold out such empty hope. Ancient unscience, a fearful adolescent need to assign purpose to this chaotic struggle. Logic or no, accepting there is no such thing, and the disillusionment that followed.
Dude, Ant-Man's such a loser. I'm joking. I don't know. I never liked. I don't know. Ant-Man just never had that aura to him. Like, look at his outfit. Look at even the cool panels of him, bro. He just looks like such a fucking like dickhead. I don't know, man. He just looks. It's just like, why an ant? The fuck.
No, accepting there is no such thing, and the disillusionment that followed was the most painful part of growing up. Pulling off the scab of fantasy.
What the fuck is that thing in the top left? Is that like a bee? The fuck? What?
To accept cold pragmatism. But today, it's a fact that makes what I have to do palatable. There is no such thing as God. There is no such thing as a soul, living or artificial. They're just robots. Because what he does is he literally holds up his hand with what's basically a neural inhibitor. When that happens, it shuts down all the robots. They literally just deactivate. Now, on its surface, it seems fairly innocuous, something that you would do when you have killer robots. But keep in mind, Vision is an artificial intelligence. He may very well have the brainwaves of Wonder Man, but it doesn't change the fact that at his core, he's a robot. And so for Hank Pym, it's simply just turning robots off. For Vision, it's killing them. And again, that's where Vision really kind of chimes in and is like, is that what you would do to me if I went awry? And the response of Hank, if you did, right? Because the question's asked,
this is how they will deal with you as well. Hold still, father. I can upload you. Remember this. When they finally understand what you are.
Here, if these are just robots and you just turn them off, then what am I, right? And that's where Hank says one of the few artificial intelligences that I've ever encountered that didn't consider itself a god looking to decimate mankind. The whole purpose behind all of this, and the reason why it segues so importantly into Ultron, is because it shows the cold, calculating nature of Hank Pym in the aftermath of their original fight with Ultron.
Look at that stare from Ultron, bro. What the? He squeezed on him. Look at this fucking stare from Ultron, bro. I don't know why that face is so funny, but what the fuck? Again, Ant-Man just doesn't look like he almost looks like a fucking Daredevil cosplayer. Like, what the fuck? I just don't like his outfit. I don't like his, I don't know, man.
He almost seemed to lose a portion of his humanity. And so what you do is you...
I do like that Ant-Man is like the segue into the multiverse and our stuff. And I find it cool that, you know, going super small allows you to, like, essentially go into the multiverse or some shit. But, yeah. But that's it. That's all he has, to be so honest.
Switch over to Titan and you pick up with Eros. I know it seems like it comes out of left field. Bear with me here, because Eros, being the guy that he is, right, always surrounded by women, using his powers to ensnare folks and to think he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, that like there's literally a giant crash landing on the moon of Titan. And when he gets there, he basically finds the original ship that was fired off that Ultron was on that lands here. And so again, one of the things to know, and we'll kind of talk about how that ties into Annihilation Conquest once we get to the end, because it also ties into what's happening in West Coast Avengers right now with Ultron joining the Avengers. But at the time the story was written, sticking with the story itself,
I muted it.
Ends up happening is that Eros ends up traveling back to Father, right? Basically his father and the father of Thanos, along with Isaac, the computer system that controls the entire world. And that as
this is a whole like topic I don't even know anything about, truly. I really didn't know Ultron's, I don't even know surface level shit, apparently, because apparently Hank Pym was the person who created fucking Ultron, and I'm guessing he also created fucking oh my god, the good Ultron. Oh my god, I can't even remember his name. They literally just said his name too. I don't care.
Talks to Isaac. Isaac is demonstrating signs of corruption. Some external force is influencing him. And that's where he arrives to his father to mentor. And when that happens, he tells him something's going on with Isaac. Some Avengers vessel crash landed onto this world, and whatever was inside of it or part of it tunneled down below and is tunneling into the city. And as soon as that revelation is made, Ultron starts emerging. Now, it looks like a very primitive version of Ultron because much like a kind of computer virus, he's infecting the entire system of Isaac and just kind of reconstituting himself in various physical forms, in what's essentially primitive physical forms. But what he displays here is something that totally catches Eros by surprise, because he immediately sees his mentor and starts converting him. And he's doing that with everyone across the planet. He's literally converting them into Ultron automatons. And in doing that, he gains access to all their memories and all their knowledge. He literally becomes a living planet, right? And I don't even mean that metaphorically. I mean
So you're telling me this motherfucker could take over bodies and make them into... So why didn't he just do that with the fucking Avengers? Or did he just get that ability? And how the fuck did he... What? How does that even work? Like, what? I'm so confused. How does that even... like, does he sink his wires into their fucking brain and like, what? They're not robots. Like, how does he make them into just robots right there and then? Like, what the fuck?
That literally. And so the last thing Mentor tells Eros, get out of here, go back to Earth, find these
goddamn clankers.
Avengers, this city is lost. And in
fuck?
fact, there's a point where Eros is hovering above the city itself and Ultron's face starts to appear.
Oh yeah, you know Eros hates fucking clankers. Oh yeah. You know he's real racist.
And so in that moment, you have this kind of conversation back on Earth between the Avengers and Hank Pym based on what he did and shutting those robots down. And Hank Pym, being highly pragmatic here, is just kind of like, look, you guys can complain about this neural inhibitor all you want to, but at the end of the day, a time may come when this thing may very well save your lives. I did what needed to be done. You guys bickered and squabbled over morality. But in this entire conversation, Eros shows up, and Eros literally tells them Ultron has reemerged on Titan. He's taken the entire planet over. It's only a matter of time before he comes here. And so at that point, the debate kind of shifts to what the Avengers should do, right? Do they just go to Titan and then use this device on everybody on Titan? If they do, would it kill everybody? But if they are all just kind of humans converted into Ultron and this device shuts robots down, it could effectively shut Ultron down, at least this current version of him. Would it kill everyone? Is it impossible to separate the human from the machine? Or can that be undone? But in the midst of all of that, Vision just kind of looks off into the distance. And while everyone's debating and everybody's having these conversations, he's just kind of typing in, right? Literally activating the security systems of Avengers Tower. And that's when the entire cloaking device is removed for Ultron's ship. It's a world, a moon that shows up here. And that's where they start to realize Ultron's not on his way. He's already there.
Mother of God, what?
And so at that moment, Ultron launches his attack. And what he says in doing this is one of the coldest lines. He says, "Once I sought the love that you owed me, Father. Now I will take it," and just launches the strike on everybody on Earth. It's crazy. And right off the bat, Hank Pym is the first one attacked, and all the Avengers just kind of jump in. Now, what Ultron's done here is that with his ability to duplicate himself, to take over the forms of other people, he just kind of manifests all these Ultron drones.
Oh, so he did do my plan.
Of former Avengers.
Wait, he actually did my plan. Just make him... Okay.
Now, the cool thing about this is that for those of you guys who are familiar with the story Ultron Forever, this looks familiar because that's yet another story beyond the Age of Ultron story where Ultron conquers everything. And in fact, that future was actually visited in Jonathan Hickman's run on Avengers and New Avengers leading up to the collapse.
What the fuck?
Of the multiverse. But basically, it was a future where Ultron controlled everything. He even took over and destroyed Odin on Asgard, and he ruled as Allfather on Asgard. That's where the Prime Ultron was. Everybody else was just drones. But he had made drone duplicates of all of the Avengers, or converted some Avengers into his drones. But basically, there were no superheroes on Earth anymore. It was just everybody who was Ultron, and that was really it. It was nuts. It was this crazy story. And so this attack comes fast and swift and fierce. Spider-Man literally grabs Sam Wilson and they bail out of there, mostly because one of Sam Wilson's wings was destroyed, so Spider-Man basically saves him. But most all the Avengers were completely unprepared for this. And so there's this really cool instance where Ultron directly addresses Vision, and he says, "Since the years have not taught you loyalty, my fallen son, I will teach you fear." And again, that's why you get these amazing lines from...
That's kind of... That is kind of a fucking tough-ass line. I will teach you fear. That's kind of tough. I can't lie that. Hey, man.
Ultron in this story, because Wanda's caught off guard. She's trying to hold them off as best she can. Pietro's trying to hold them off as best she can, but none of it makes a difference because Ultron finally catches up, or at least one of the Ultron drones catches up to Wanda and converts her into a drone. The next.
So is that drone able to like do magic now? Like all these drones can use the powers of. Wow. So he just puts it in their brain and the wires just like it's that easy.
One of the Ultron drones catches up to Wanda and converts her into a drone.
Also, boobalicious. Holy shit. I was reading the line and then I wasn't looking originally and then okay. You know what? You caught me. But holy boobalicious, what the fuck? Also, is that woman Thor?
The next one is Thor. Now, this is an important thing to know. This is during Jason Aaron's run when Jane Foster was Thor,
yep,
right? Jason Aaron's run being one of the greatest runs on Thor in the history of Marvel. And that when you have her facing off against Ultron, she doesn't really have the kind of battle experience that Thor Odinson has. And so while she is able to hold her own, and the Avengers are effectively playing hot potato with the neural inhibitor because Ultron's trying to get his hands on it, that what ends up happening is she's overtaken. Because the reality here is she doesn't quite know how to handle and confront Ultron the same way everybody else does. It is also important to specify here that the hammer that Ultron is wielding is not Mjolnir. It's just a copy of Mjolnir.